Hey, so as most of us may know, or perhaps we don't, we store our trauma in our body, and we can't use our mind to think the trauma away. Oftentimes, lay down, baby. We'll play in a second. Lay down. A lot of times, we must drop down into the body to help release the tension and break up the energy so it can more freely flow and move. Okay, so it's like when we're constantly in our minds thinking, it's like our hose is kinked and the energy can't move. When we stop thinking and we drop down into the body to help move the energy, we're unkinking the hose and the energy can flow freely through the body and release. And it's not always comfortable, but it's what's happening. So I wanted to take the time to walk us through a guided hip opening stretch because our hips, especially for women, our hips is where we store the most amount of trauma. And maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but I've been working as a personal trainer over these past 4 years and just mixing my knowledge and wisdom from personal training, which I do every day still to this day, and just my wisdom about spirituality and bringing it together and offering you something truly valuable. So that's what this video is going to be. I don't know how long, maybe 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, of some hip opening stretches. I'm not going to say that this is yoga. I'm not going to call it yoga. I'm not a yoga instructor. I'm a personal trainer. But at the end of every lesson with every single one of my clients, I walk us through a 10 to 15 minute guided stretch. And this is going to be specifically to open our hips, moving into our body and releasing that stuck, stagnant energy, unkinking the hose. Okay, so if any emotions do come up throughout this experience, that's totally normal. It's normal to cry. It's normal to feel random waves of anger or grief, maybe flashes of memories or limiting thoughts that come up. Just do your best to stay with your body and to observe these things as the neutral observer of it. Okay. And I'm going to, of course, be walking us through it the whole time. So we're just going to start in a butterfly, just normal to warm the hips up a little bit. Don't have your heels too close in towards your pelvis. Just keep them out about 6 inches to a foot out. And we're just going to warm up here in a butterfly and begin to breathe and drop down into our body. You can kind of start to move around if that feels good, just loosening up the hips, creating circles, flapping your legs like butterfly wings. Just take a few deep breaths. And then slowly we are going to grab onto our legs with our hands, our ankles or our feet. And we are going to pull ourselves. We want to keep our back straight. So our back is straight. We're not hunching forward. We're keeping the back straight. And then we're using our arms to pull our chest towards our feet. Just slowly stopping where it feels comfortable, but there's still that tension. And then begin breathing there. Breathing into the tension. Allowing ourselves to slowly soften and deepen into this stretch with every exhale. Inhaling, setting the intention to bring oxygen into our hips. Exhaling, setting the intention to release stagnant energy, to release tension and move deeper into the stretch, even if it's just a little bit. Continuing to breathe, observing. Okay, let's straighten out just our left leg. And we're going to take our right ankle and we're going to put our right ankle on top of our left thigh. Okay, this is going to start to open up the back of our hamstrings into our glutes, which is going to help us later on to further open our hips. Okay, so even if you just rest your leg on top of the knee and that feels like a deep enough stretch, you can stay here. If you feel any discomfort or like pain, put your leg back on the ground. Watch out, Murph. Put your leg back on the ground beside your leg. And then we're going to reach for our left foot. And breathe. Deep breaths here. Breathing into our hips, breathing into the back of our left leg. Sinking into our body. Good boy, Murph. And now coming back up to center, we're going to bend our left leg, keeping our right ankle on top of our right thigh or moving our ankle onto our left thigh. And then we're going to bend our left leg and we're going to walk our left heel or scoot our glutes towards our left heel and move our hands closer to our glutes and just breathe. This should be stretching your right glute, your right hip. Doing your best to keep your back straight, core engaged. And you can always lay all the way back and stretch it laying back like this. Just continue to breathe. Taking deep breaths into our hips. And then moving back to center, uncrossing our legs, sitting back up if we laid down. We will switch. Our right leg is straight and we're going to bring our left ankle on top of our right thigh, or if that hurts our right knee or anything, just leave your foot on the mat like this. It doesn't matter. This way is just a deeper stretch for the back of your right leg. And we're going to lean towards our right foot and just breathe. Deep breaths. Setting the intention to breathe oxygen into the back of our leg, into our hips with the inhale. And with the exhale, we're setting the intention to disperse this stagnant, tense energy by slowly allowing ourselves to relax deeper into the stretch. Inhale, bringing in oxygen. Exhale, relax deeper, breaking up this stagnant, tense energy. And then coming back up, we're gonna bend our right leg so that we can stretch our left glute. If you need to move your left ankle to your right thigh, scooting our glutes closer to our right heel, and then walking our hands up towards us, keeping our core engaged, our back straight, our shoulders relaxed away from our neck. And you can either do it this way, or if it's more comfortable, you can lay all the way back and pull your right thigh to your chest with your arms. And just breathe. Inhale oxygen to our hips. Exhale, disperse the tension. Just breathing. Observing our thoughts, observing the energy moving in our body, observing any emotions, observing the tension. And then moving ourselves back through center, we're going to come up. And we're going to come onto our knees. If this bothers your knees, just start from here, but this should be okay. We're not going to do anything crazy. I keep looking down to talk because put my microphone on my shirt. Okay. So let's keep our right leg under our right knee underneath our hip, and we're just going to pop our left leg out to the side. Okay, and we're going to bring our hands forward, dropping them in front of us. And if this already is feeling like it's stretching your hips, you can just stay here. But then you're going to slowly start to walk your right knee out. Slowly. And wherever you feel like is a good place to stop, you're going to stop there. And we're just going to move back and forth. This shouldn't be painful. You might feel tension in your inner thighs. You might feel tension towards your pelvis. But there shouldn't be pain. So if there's pain, just wait for the next stretch. Okay, and we're going to rock. And you can come down on your forearms, allowing yourself to move deeper into the stretch. Breathe here. This one is going to be a little bit of a challenge to release the tension. At least that's what I observe in my own body. And that's okay. Just work with it. We're just moving back and forth and continuing to breathe. If you need to come back up to a higher position, do it. Just breathe. Exhale, come back. Inhale, pull forward. Just being in your body, being with the energy in your body, being with the tension in your hips, breathing, allowing whatever emotion or thought that wants to arise, let it arise, and then just observe it from a neutral space of, oh, interesting, I'm having thoughts of low self-worth, or I can feel this trauma, and I don't know what it is, but I feel this deep wave of grief washing over me. Or if you just feel nothing and you just are with your body, perfect. This is perfect. Just breathe here. We're not We're not trying to force any trauma. We're not trying to force any trauma or anything to come up and be released. We're just being with our body in the present moment with what is arising now. And if that's neutrality, that's perfect. Okay. Now, slowly, we're going to push up onto our hands again and walk our knee and leg back together. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing now on the other side. So we'll keep our left knee underneath us and we're going to pop our right knee out to the side. Okay. And then slowly, we're going to bring our hands down in front of us. And we're going to walk our left knee out just as far as you can without it being painful. It should not be painful. There's a difference between pain and tension. Okay, and we're just going to rock back and forth. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Coming down onto your forearms, if that feels comfortable. Slowly moving deeper into the stretch. Taking deep breaths. Being with our hips. Inhale, oxygen to the hips. Exhale, dispersing the tension and relaxing deeper into the stretch. Inhale, oxygen. Exhale, disperse. Okay, just slowly rocking back and forth. If you need to come back up a little bit, that's okay. Okay, we're going to move all the way back up to center. Woo. And for a moment, let's just bring our knees in front of us and hug our knees to our chest. And you can rock back and forth, or you can just stay here like this. Just breathe. It's a lot of work being done on our hips right now. Let's just breathe. Maybe bringing our legs out to a forward fold if that feels good. Reaching for our toes. Okay, we're going to lay back and stretch our hamstrings a little bit deeper this time. So let's lay all the way onto our backs. Let's leave our left foot planted firmly on the mat, and we're going to grab behind our right leg, and we're going to straight, point our toe, flex our toe, bend. Straight, point, flex, bend. 2, we're going to do this 10 times. And breathe. 3, breathing into the back of our leg. Just being with our hips, being with our legs. And 10, we're going to switch sides. Planting our right foot firmly down, we're going to grab the back of our left leg and we're going to do the same thing. Straight, Point, flex, bend 10 times and breathe. In oxygen, exhale, disperse and relax. Good. And 10. Okay, we're going to come up to seated. Now, this next one, if this does not feel comfortable, then I would suggest this is where you end the video. If you feel good, if you feel like you can keep going, we're going to come into a my cat just scared herself. She knocked the outside broom over onto my tripod. We're going to come into a lunge. Okay, now this is very important. Your knee, I don't want your knee above to go above your toes like this. Okay, keep your knee back. Keep your knee back. It should be above your ankle. And if you want to move, you can scoot your right leg back to get deeper. Okay, we're just going to come into this lunge stretch. Low back knee lunge stretch. And breathe. Keeping your hands on the ground if you need to. Excuse me. Or you can bring your arms up onto your leg. Do what feels best for you. Do what feels best for your body. Deep breaths into our hips. Okay, and now we're going to shift our hips back. We're going to straighten out our left leg. But you want to make sure that your hips are square so you're not pulling your right hip back and opening. Your hips are square. They're both facing forward and they're next to each other. And then you're going to reach for your left leg. And breathe. Take deep breaths here. You can rock back and forth. Inhale oxygen to the hips, to the back of the leg. Exhale, disperse tension and relax. Okay, we're going to come forward into a pigeon. You'll know if this is for you or not. Okay, so you're going to come back forward into a lunge. You're going to shift your left leg to the right side of your mat, and then you're going to bring your knee down. Okay, setting your hips down. And now my shin is parallel to the top of the mat, but yours absolutely does not have to be. You can walk your heel closer to your pelvis. And you can always come forward onto your forearms, lifting up your back leg a little bit just so that it's not as intense. Okay? Just find a spot that feels right and comfortable for you and your hips. If this is too much for you, just don't do this. We're going to breathe here. Deep breath, oxygen into your hips. Exhale, disperse tension and relax further into the stretch. Okay, let's bring our back leg around. And then we're going to switch and do it on the other side. And then we'll be done with this little stretch, hip stretch. Okay, so right foot forward. We're coming into a lunge. Your knee is above your ankle. Do not let your knee go forward towards your toes. Keep your knee above your ankle. And if you need to deepen the stretch, move your left knee backwards. Almost. Okay, lay down, Murph. I love you. We're going to breathe. Deep breath in. Oxygen into the hips. Exhale, release tension. No. Lay down. We'll play after. Lay down. Good job, Murph. Good. Keep breathing. And then we're going to push back. Hips are square. Your left hip should not be pulling backwards and keeping your hips pointing out. Your hips should both be facing forwards. And then you're going to reach for your toes. And just breathe. You can rock back and forth if that feels good, or you can just hold it. Murph. Deep breaths. And then we're going to shift forward into a pigeon. Which, if you want to hold these longer, you can always pause it and keep holding it. But we're going to shift forward into a pigeon pose. So we're going to move our right foot towards the left side of our mat, and then we're going to drop our knee. Which you might want to start from up here. And bring your hands down to the mat. Okay. You can bring your foot heel in towards you, or you can keep it out so that your shin is parallel to the top of the mat. And just breathe into your hips. Inhale, bringing in oxygen. Exhale, release, disperse tension, and relax. Couple more deep breaths all the way in, oxygen to the hips. And all the way out. Dispersing the tension, relaxing deeper into our body, into our hips. And then coming back up, we can bring our left leg around. And again, we're just going to hug our knees to our chest. And that was it. Great job. I'm so glad that you moved through this with me. I hope that this was helpful to you, and I'd be curious to hear how you enjoyed it in the comments. If you have any other stretching kinds of videos that you would like. Yeah, okay.